Yeah, it says it's recording. Great. So, really nice to welcome Professor Ruard Ganzevoort to be with us virtually. It's a shame we can't be in Amsterdam as we have been for the last 5 years, sitting around the basket, which is the bar where we often congregate for a drink, and meeting you and your colleagues in the faculty. So I'm sorry that we're missing that, but one of the good things about us being online is that we have a much bigger group of students and staff who are able to participate. So this is just a way for them to see you and hear from you for 5 minutes. So maybe Ruard, just tell us to start with how things in the Netherlands, how things at the VU in these strange days of lockdown or partial lockdown.
Thanks, Nicola. Yes, it's indeed a shame that you cannot be here, and I would love to meet with with all of you in the group. Some of you I've met before, and quite a few, of course, I have not met yet. So that would have been great, but indeed we are unfortunately now in the situation that we're in. Yes, what is it like to live in a lockdown, or semi-lockdown, we should say, because things are restricted. We do some activities on campus, but actually most of our teaching is now online, as I think it is in many contexts.
Yeah. Which
allows us some new opportunities, but it's also it has many drawbacks for people individually. And again, we are very much aware that this has a lot to do with the diverse situations that people are in. I mean, if you have a nice house, if you have a lot of space, if you have the equipment that you need, then lockdown is actually, not that bad. Some colleagues, students can even experience it as a great time to relax and live in like a monastic circumstances and so on. But if you are responsible for example, young children, if you have small housing, if you don't have the luxury of enough IT equipment, computers and so on, then this is really a hard time. And we acknowledge that, and we understand that for our students and for our colleagues, this is a hard time and can be. So, well, at the same time, of course, there's also on the level of content, there are many issues that come to the table. And I think one of the nice things, Nicola, of our collaboration is that it's always about faith in action. It's always about what does it mean to be a faithful believer, and to make that explicit and make that work in the wicked questions of our society. Whether it's about issues of race, another issue that we had on the table for this year, of ecology, of contingency and the uncertainties of life. Our work is always about religion, of faith, in all these complicated questions.
Yeah, that sounds like, I think I certainly sense a good deal of resonance with our own context here in Birmingham and in the UK, and the strange paradox of this time, in some ways offering opportunities, and in other ways, I think, exacerbating the divisions in society between, those who are financially secure, comfortably well off, as you say, have physical space, and physical space often goes with other kinds of space, head space, mind space, body space. If you have all those things, it's maybe even partially enjoyable, but if you don't have them, then your deprivations of various kinds are actually exacerbated hugely by COVID. Yeah. So are you working from home at the moment? I can hear lovely, is it a carillon, the bells behind is that coming from, are you at the VU or are you at home?
No, I work at home at the moment in Utrecht, in the center of the country, and what you hear now is the main church in the city center. Yeah, it's a beautiful carillon. Yes,
I've been up there once, many years ago. I can't even think why I was in Utrecht, but I climbed the many steps to the big carillon. So I remember that with pleasure.
One day again, Nicola. One day we will.
We'll go again. Yeah, that would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah, that'd be really good. I wonder if I know, again, these are challenging times for the faculty, and for some of our folks this year, it would be very new to VU. It's even the name VU will be new to them. So I wonder if you could just sketch a little bit of background about the
Sure.
Faculty of Religion and Theology, and what may be some of the issues that you're facing particularly at the moment.
Yeah. Well, let me start. VU, it means Vrije Universiteit, which means free university. We don't translate that easily, because if we say free, then people think that they can study for free, and we're not that cheap. But Vrije Universiteit means that we have a long tradition since 1880 of being free from the state and free from the church, which means that we are really, in that sense, a private and individual institution, even though we are supported by the government, fully funded. And we have very strong relationship with 10 different denominations in our faculty. So we are not that free in a sense, but that's still our name. Our faculty used to be the training center for ministers for the Protestant Church, the mainline Protestant Church in the Netherlands, until around 2001, 2002. And around that time that changed because the church made the decision to move elsewhere with their program. Which meant that we had to reinvent ourselves, basically. And we started by developing a program for Muslim clergy, Muslim training. And since then, that has evolved into, well, like I said, 10 different denominations, 6 of them Christian, from very conservative to very liberal. And then also for the Jewish, Islamic, Hindu, and Buddhist community. So by now we are really an interreligious faculty, although it's with a strong Protestant presence in it. It's really an interreligious faculty in which we combine, and I think that's also interesting to know, we combine classical theology, if you want confessional theology, with religious studies. So if you want to study religion because you're just interested in how this strange phenomenon works in our society, that's fine. But if you want to train to become a minister in a Baptist church, or you want to become a spiritual caregiver from the Buddhist tradition, that's also fine. So we invite our students and our staff to really be engaged in their scholarship, to connect personally to things that they are studying, but also to engage in this interreligious dialogue and this critical dialogue about religion in society. And actually that is, if you want, the 3 main areas of expertise summarized. One is we have a lot of expertise on the, let's say, the content and the developments in specific traditions, from the sources, biblical studies, for example, or Quran studies, until today, what happens in the practices in faith communities. So that's one thing, intra-religious, if you want. The second one is the interreligious. So what does it mean to live together, to exchange in both conflict and dialogue? And the third level is of religion in society. And this relates, for example, to peace and justice, peace and conflict studies. It relates to sustainability issues. It can relate to gender, for example. So those are 3 main areas of our expertise, linked to the various traditions, and then again linked with partners like the different denominations, but also partners like Queens, and we have a few more with whom we have an intensive PhD program.
Yes, it's great to see the number of your international partners growing. We're one of a growing body. So there's us, there's IBTS, the International Baptist Theological Seminary, actually in Amsterdam, just down the road. I was speaking to Mike Pears just the other day, the director. And then you also have seminaries in Ethiopia and where else?
In Indonesia.
Indonesia, yeah.
And then, of course, we also have, but not in the same structure, or same format, but we also have strong connections with South Africa, for example.
Yeah.
For our Buddhist program, we have strong connections with China. So there's a variety of links all over the world.
Yeah, so that's exciting for us in Birmingham. You know, very cosmopolitan, multi-faith, interfaith, multicultural Birmingham to be not only European facing, which feels to many of us at Queen's extremely important in these times when some in the UK don't really wish to be very European facing, but by virtue of us belonging to the faculty, we're also then in touch with other international centres of theology.
On that point, indeed, Nicola, we have at the moment in our faculty we have close to 300 PhD students, and most of them are not from the Netherlands. They can be from all over Europe, but in fact they are from all over the world. My own PhD students, for example, they come from Chile, they come from Myanmar, Indonesia, Ghana. So we really have this variety of PhD students. Yeah. And for me that is extremely enriching, because we believe that we are a community of learners. We learn together, and we learn by bridging perspectives. We learn at Vrije Universiteit because of our international encounters. And we learn from our PhD students who bring a completely different background, completely different cultural worldview, cosmologies, everything. And that's where the learning starts. So we are absolutely thrilled by encountering people from different backgrounds, not because they should come to Amsterdam or to Birmingham to learn the things that we have to offer them, but because it's a mutual cooperation. We share and we learn mutually, and we learn at least as much from our PhD students as the other way around.
Yeah, I can say amen to that from my own experience of supervising quite a number of PhD students now. But also, I mean, as you know, at Queen's now, we are very much broadening the different streams of PhD students and developing new partnerships with Sri Lanka and Rwanda, and some of those students will be with us in the next week, or they'll be able to see this video at some other time. And as well as broadening the range of students that we're getting from the UK. So that's really exciting for us as well. And I think we would all echo that sense that we have as much to learn from our students as they may have to learn from us, and learning from each other. And that's part of the value of this gathering, whether it's happening online, which it is this year, or whether it were to be happening in real time and space. There's just so much sharing and mutual learning from each other that takes place, which is invaluable.
Absolutely. I think that's also why Queen's and VU have now for several years already this very fruitful cooperation, because we completely resonate with this fundamental perspective on what it means to learn, to work together, and I think also what it means to make this firm connection between the spiritual resources of your tradition, your personal engagement, and the need of society. Maybe Nicola, in closing, one of my mottos in life is that everything is about finding your calling. And for me, a very nice way of putting it is that your calling is there where your desires and abilities link up with the need of the world around you. Now, you may have desires that nobody needs. That's fine for a hobby, but not for a calling. You may have desires or wishes that you don't have the capacities for. I mean, I may have the desire to be a soccer player or a musician, but I don't have those capacities. So that's not my calling. And maybe there's a need in the world that you cannot or do not want to fulfill. And that's not your calling either. But whenever you find what drives you, what gives you the energy, what makes you functional, what you can do, your capabilities and your desires, and you find a way of connecting that to what the world needs, I think that's when you found your calling.
Amen, brother. And I think that resonates with our sense at Queen's, that doing research, doing doctoral research, it is a part of the discovery of our vocation, that it is not simply the pursuit of academic work, scholarship. Of course it is that, but it is actually in the service of a bigger vocation. And it's really exciting to see folks doing their doctoral studies and in the pursuit of research, actually discovering more about themselves, tapping into more of their own skills, but getting a bigger sense of the mission and ministry of the church, getting a bigger sense of the God that we serve. So I think that resonates very much with our own sense of what research is about. Thank you. That we could carry on all afternoon.
We could.
Maybe you want to go and carry on listening to the beautiful bells, and I will carry on planning the programme for our gathering next week. But it's great to have a chance to chat, and I'm sure our students and staff will enjoy hearing what you have to say and carrying on this journey together. So thank you.
Let me wish you a very wonderful journey for those days. And also, hopefully, we will meet each other as soon as possible in the flesh. Indeed, that would be good. That would be good. Take care and thank you, and bye for now. Goodbye. Now, I think it carries on recording, I think now, until we end the meeting. Probably. Well, you should be able to stop it if you want, but... Okay, I have no idea. Oh yes, stop. There we go. Stop recording. Yeah.